Keir Starmer is under fire once again, and this time the attack is devastating. GB News' Patrick Christys has delivered a blistering takedown of the Labour leader, focusing on his past legal career and the controversial cases he defended. Starmer's go-to defence, the cab rank rule, isn't cutting it anymore, and Patrick's fiery critique has sent shockwaves through political circles. But don't take our word for it. Here's the clip that's lighting up headlines everywhere. Patrick Christys asks, should Keir Starmer be proud of defending criminals?
I wonder with Keir Starmer whether or not his track record as a lawyer. I was having quite an interesting discussion about this, just with some friends recently. One of them is a lawyer, and I was asking about this cab rank rule.
Oh, yeah.
How hard and fast. So he, gets away with saying that he's managed to represent some of the world's biggest wrong'uns by it's the cab rank rule. I didn't really have a choice. I had to do it. And I was having a chat with a lawyer who's, I won't name now, he's quite a high-profile lawyer, who was saying that's not actually really accurate, because you can, if you're any good at a lawyer, you can talk your way out of something. You say, I'm going on holiday. I'm going on holiday at this time. Not actually in the country. My workload is a bit much, which I think does cast some doubt on whether or not Keir Starmer really wanted to represent those people. And that is why I think now people look at the immigration situation and they think, well, hang on a minute, do you actually want to get tough on it? A lack of believability, Jonathan. He's lied his way into Downing Street, some people would say.
Patrick, I think that the last point about the cab rank rule is a really interesting one, because we have a basic principle of justice that everyone is entitled to a defence. Even the most heinous criminals, or alleged criminals, are entitled to defence. Otherwise, the whole thing falls apart.
It's interesting to see which lawyers decide to take all of this.
If no lawyer, if you're saying, I'm not going to represent you because you don't deserve legal sort of representation, then actually the whole thing falls apart.
You get a reputation for being good at defending types of cases and types of persons.
Everyone deserves, and not to say everyone deserves defence.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it myself.
The fallout from Patrick's tirade has been immediate and fierce. Starmer has long presented his career as a barrister as evidence of his capability to lead the country. He often leans on the cab rank rule, a principle that obligates barristers to take on any case within their expertise to justify his involvement in defending alleged criminals. But Patrick wasn't having it, calling the rule a technical excuse and accusing Starmer of failing to take moral accountability for his choices. If you're proud of your record, own it, Patrick said. Don't hide behind legal jargon. Starmer's defenders argue that the cab rank rule is a cornerstone of the legal profession and that criticising him for adhering to it undermines the justice system as a whole. However, critics, including Patrick, have pointed out that Starmer himself has repeatedly used his legal career as a central part of his leadership narrative. You can't have it both ways, Patrick argued during his segment. You can't present yourself as the moral leader of the nation while shrugging off the questions about your professional past. The debate quickly went viral, with reactions flooding in across social media. Labour supporters accused Patrick of unfairly attacking a fundamental part of Starmer's career, while opponents seized on the moment to question whether the Labour leader is truly relatable to voters. This isn't just about legal principles, one commentator noted. It's about whether Starmer can connect with the average person who doesn't see the world through a lawyer's lens. The timing of the controversy couldn't be worse for Starmer, who is already facing mounting challenges on multiple fronts. On Christmas Day, yet another record number of migrants crossed the English Channel, reigniting criticism of Labour's perceived lack of a concrete plan to address the ongoing crisis. The public has grown increasingly frustrated with vague promises and political point-scoring, and Starmer's inability to offer detailed solutions is starting to wear thin. As the scandal around Starmer's credibility grows, a parallel issue is unfolding in the countryside, where Nigel Farage has launched his own scathing attack on Labour's policies. Speaking at a traditional Boxing Day hunt, Farage accused the party of declaring war on rural communities. At the heart of the controversy is Labour's pledge to ban trail hunting, which Farage branded an attack on tradition. Trail hunting was introduced as a legal alternative to fox hunting after the 2004 ban, but it has remained a contentious practice. Animal rights activists argue that it's often used as a smokescreen for illegal fox hunting, while rural supporters see it as a vital cultural tradition. Labour has doubled down on its promise to outlaw the practice, with a spokesperson calling it part of the most ambitious animal welfare plans in a generation. Farage, however, was quick to point out what he sees as Labour's hypocrisy and disregard for the countryside. Labour doesn't understand rural Britain, he said. For them, It's all about cities and class politics. They see hunting as a symbol of privilege and want to erase it without considering what it means to the people who live and work here. The backlash has been fierce, with rural communities accusing Labour of pandering to urban voters while ignoring the unique challenges faced by those in the countryside. Farage expanded his critique, highlighting broader issues such as the financial struggles of small family farms, poor infrastructure, and a lack of rural representation in government. "If you live in a city, you matter," he said. "But if you're in a village, you're forgotten." As tensions rise in rural Britain, Starmer is finding himself caught in the crossfire. His party's animal welfare policies have alienated a significant portion of the countryside, while his leadership continues to be questioned by those who see him as overly cautious and out of touch. The controversy over his legal past only adds fuel to the fire, further eroding trust in his ability to lead decisively. Meanwhile, another controversy is brewing in the energy sector. The government's push to promote heat pumps as an environmentally friendly alternative to gas boilers has come under scrutiny, with critics warning that the rollout relies too heavily on taxpayer subsidies. Under initiatives like the Boiler Upgrade Scheme, households can claim grants to help cover the cost of installing heat pumps, but the market remains fragile. Mike Foster, CEO of a non-profit focused on energy policy, warned that the current approach is unsustainable. "The heat pump market is propped up by public subsidies," he said. "This boom and bust cycle isn't a long-term solution, especially when families are already struggling with rising energy bills." Labour has tried to position itself as a champion of green energy, with its Warm Homes plan aiming to deliver upgrades to 300,000 households next year. However, the reliance on taxpayer funding has raised questions about the feasibility of their proposals. "The vision is ambitious, but the execution is flawed," one analyst noted. "You can't ask struggling families to bear the cost of transitioning to net zero." As controversies pile up, Starmer's leadership is increasingly under the microscope. His critics argue that his carefully curated image as a steady, principled leader is starting to crack under the weight of public scrutiny. Patrick Christys' attack has reignited long-standing doubts about Starmer's relatability and ability to inspire trust. For a man who has built his political career on the idea of integrity, the growing perception of evasiveness could prove disastrous. Nigel Farage, meanwhile, is capitalising on the discontent, presenting himself as a voice for the disenfranchised rural communities who feel ignored by Labour's urban-focused agenda. His fiery rhetoric has struck a chord with many, further highlighting the divide between city and countryside that Labour seems unable to bridge. As the political landscape grows more volatile, one thing is clear: credibility and trust are becoming the defining battlegrounds of the next election. Whether it's Starmer defending his legal past, Labour grappling with rural backlash, or the government facing criticism over green energy policies, the stakes have never been higher. For now, the public is left to watch as these scandals unfold, with trust in leadership hanging in the balance. If you want more explosive political drama and the latest twists, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. We're bringing you every scandal, every fiery debate, and every jaw-dropping moment as it happens.